Hello, everyone. My name is Madeline, and today we are going to be talking about Mills Day One in our article discussion. And this is my friend.
Tracy.
All right. So, the first big paragraph is the consequentialism types. So, for consequentialism, you may be wondering, what is that? So, it is the study of morality that focuses on the end outcome of an action which is determined to be right or wrong. And on the flip side, it talks about the denotology, which is the opposite of what we actually have been learning in this whole big reading. It is actually the study that considers consequences to be irrelevant. So it doesn't even think about, what could possibly go wrong. It's just thinking about this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing now. And that's it.
All right. So within utilitarianism, there's two different aspects. You have the egoist, and then um, it just says utilitarians, but I kind of interpret it as like pure utilitarianism. So you have the egoist, which only focuses on the consequences of the action, and they don't really care whether there is any other benefit from the act besides the good or bad aspects. Whereas utilitarians, or as I call them, like pure utilitarians, have a belief that utility creation is key to impacting decisions, and utility is the usefulness or like helpfulness of something. If you like to think back to economics, that'll probably help you. Um, but yeah,
So the different types of consequences, there's three different types: actual, probable, and value adjusted possible. So the actual is what actually is happening. Probable is what is most likely to happen. So it's like if you go down one road, you could go this way or you could go this way, and it could be either one. But that is the two probable um, outcomes. And the value adjusted is when people or all possibilities that factor how likely they are to happen and how good or bad they are. People argue that it's necessary to take in the into consideration the consequences for the value adjusted possible. But for actual, the downfall to actual is they have no idea what the consequence for their choice would be. It's kind of thinking back to the denotology in a way, with that not having an idea and just going mindless and not even worrying about what's happening with your choice. So for probable, the downfall for that would be that is most likely to backfire, um, just because like you are considering those different outcomes and you know that this outcome could happen, but you still do it anyway.
all right. And then there's some considerations taken into consider. There's considerations taken by utilitarians. I apologize for that. There's acts and there's rules. The acts are where each action is judged individually and on their own terms, and then rules are what I have put here is theorized to base the actions into categories from which they are judged good or bad. It's kind of like the conglomerate of the acts, and then um, comparing and contrasting them to decide which route would be best to take. I feel like rules really apply mainly to like the value adjusted possibilities, whereas acts would definitely only apply to the first two, like probable um, actions and actual actions. But yeah, they're actually really interesting, and the rules build up off of the acts. So that's how I like to remember it. Um, and then we did come up with some questions for this reading. The first question was, how would rules play into utilitarianism? Because if rules are categories and predetermined, wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose of value adjusted possibilities? Because if they're predetermined, then you're not really needing to analyze something and come up with the actual value of it, because you can just pick and choose from other instances that have happened in the past. So, personally, in my opinion, I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose to put them into rules. But yeah.
So for my question is, what is the downfall fall of value adjusted consequences? So in the reading, it never really says straightforward what the downfall of value adjusted consequence is. It says it for actual and probable, which is what I had said previously in a slide. But I would just like to know what the downfall of it is. I have an idea of what it could be. I think that the downfall for it is that everyone has different beliefs and different values, and the consequences may not be as big as what it was for someone who doesn't have the same values as you. So.
All right, let me just stop this recording.